Okay, well, that last video kind of cut off abruptly. I accidentally hit stop share instead of pause recording, but that's okay because we weren't going to do the rest of that one anyway. Number 11, A, B, C, D, E, F, or however many there were, we were going to do those anyway. So we're actually going to skip ahead to block 5 now, topic 5, block 5, in your math book or packet. So no worries there. Block 5, whoops, hold on a second here. Drawing. Oh, block 5, page 1 of 2. There we go. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. But before we do that, I want to do a different share. Let's see, I've got to find it first of all. Where is it? I'll get there. Right. I think it's in my way. Give me just a second. There we go. All right, so Archibald and Annabelle, these crazy ants, have a new hobby, hot air ballooning. And we're going to take a look at this animation. Now, Archibald and Annabelle have 3 fires burning and 3 sandbags. And each fire represents positive 1 unit, and each sandbag represents negative 1 unit. So 3 fires plus 3 sandbags equals 0. Positive 3 plus negative 3 equals 0. That's why they're floating at 0. Okay. Our number line is vertical, so positive numbers are up, and of course, negative numbers are down. Now, 1 more fire makes the balloon rise by 1 unit. 0, where they were, plus 1 equals 1. Well, that makes sense. They have 4 fires and 3 sandbags. Positive 4 plus negative 3 is going to be 1. All right. So Annabelle wants to go up even more. She lights 4 more fires for a total of 8 fires in all. And there they are with 8 fires and 3 sandbags. You can see Archibald's a little bit nervous. Since 8 plus negative 3 equals 5, then the balloon, that's why the balloon is now at 5. 8 positives, 3 negatives equals 5. Great, perfect, wonderful. Now, Archibald doesn't like to be this high. He wants to take away some of the fires. So how's he going to do that? Well, just by putting some of them out, I guess. So as you can see, Archibald turned off 7 of the fires. And now they're below 0 because 1 fire plus negative 3, right? 1 plus negative 3 equals negative 2. 1 positive, 3 negatives equals negative 2. It's all making sense now. Vertical number lines, perfectly legal. Now Archibald and Annabelle are ready to go home. What are they going to do to get back to the cliff's edge at 0? What could Archibald do? Well, I guess he could add 2 more fires, and that would bring them up so they'd have 3 positives and 3 negatives. Or maybe he could cut a couple of the sandbags loose so they have 1 fire and 1 sandbag. I don't know. Let's find out. What's Archibald going to do? Oh, he's going to untie 2 sandbags. There he goes. And that puts him at 0. Very nice. They were at negative 2. He subtracted 2 sandbags. Negative 2 minus negative 2 equals 0. Now they have 1 fire and 1 sandbag. 1 plus negative 1 equals 0. And so now they're just going to take off, get back to the cliff. Not sure how this works logistically, but it works for them, I guess. It's a cartoon. What are you going to do? All right. So go back to our other share here. There we go. And that puts us at this. So let's take a look at a few addition questions just to kind of see where they fit on a number line that is vertical. So I could say, well, let's see, 8 plus negative 5. Well, 8 plus negative 5, I'm going to be at 8. And I'm going to add negative 5. That means I'm going to move down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that puts me at 3. 8 plus negative 5 is 3. Beautiful. Okay. Well, let's see. How about if I do negative 2 plus 7? What will that do? Negative 2, got to start at negative 2 down here. I'm going to add 7. That means I'm going to move up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that puts me at 5. Negative 2 plus 5. Sorry, negative 2 plus 7 is 5. Zoop, right there. All right, let's see. How about negative 1 plus negative 6? That'll work. Negative 12. No, not for this. How about negative 1 plus negative 3? There we go. Negative 3. Okay, so I'm starting at negative 1. And I'm going to add negative 3. That means I have to move down. 1, 2, 3. And you can see that puts me at negative 4. Well, that's good. See, it all makes sense. Adding on the negative number line. Sorry, the vertical number line. Yep, beautiful work. Well, let's look at this next number line. Let's do some subtraction questions. How about that? All right, let's see. How about 10 minus negative 3? Now remember what subtraction is. Remember what subtraction is. It is adding the opposite. So the first number stays exactly the same. Subtraction changes to addition. And the second number, negative 3, change that to its opposite. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. And 10 plus 3 is 13. Oh, look, right there. See? Easy peasy. Right, well, how about let's try 7 minus 11. 7 minus 11. We're going to rewrite that as a subtraction. So that'll be 7 plus negative 11. Keep that first number the same. Change subtraction to addition. And the opposite of 11 is negative 11. 7 plus negative 11. Well, here's 7. And I'm going to add negative 11. That means I move down 11 because I'm adding a negative, which is just like subtracting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that puts me at negative 4. Nice. And let's see, how about negative 5 minus negative 6? That'll work. Okay, well, remember, subtraction is adding the opposite. The first number stays the same. Subtraction becomes addition, and the opposite of negative 6 is 6. So now it's negative 5 plus 6. So I can start clear down here at negative 5. And I'm going to add 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Because I'm adding a positive, I'm moving up the vertical number line. Negative 5 plus 6 is 1. Right there. Okay. See? Easy peasy. Subtraction is adding the opposite. Negative number lines, vertical number lines are just like horizontal number lines, only the positive numbers are up. Positive numbers go up. The negative numbers go down. Okay. Well, let's get into answering these last few questions here. It says answer yes or no beside each expression, depending on whether the balloon's position models the expression. Well, let's look at what our balloon is modeling here. I've got 8 positives and I've got 3 negatives on the air balloon. 8 plus negative 3 is 5, which is what we see here. So what we need to do on these next 6 questions is answer, do they equal 5? Well, let's see. The first one says negative 6 plus 11. Well, I'm adding a negative and a positive. That means I'm going to be actually subtracting their absolute values. 11 minus 6 is 5. And I have more positives than I have negatives. So my answer is going to be positive. So that's a yes. Whoops. That's a yes. Perfect. Okay. How about 3 minus 8? Well, 3 minus 8 is the same thing as 3 plus negative 8. adding the opposite. 3 positives, 8 negatives. 8 minus 3 is 5, but I have more positives, I'm sorry, more negatives, so my answer has to be negative. That's -5, and so that's a no. Oh, here's the one that I was thinking about before. Okay, 5 minus -5. Let's look at this one. 5 minus -5. You're like, oh, well, that's easy. That's 0. But you better be careful. Be careful. 5 minus -5. Remember, 5 minus -5 is adding the opposite. That becomes 5 plus the opposite of -5, which is +5. And 5 plus 5 is 10. 10. That's a no. It does not equal 5. We have these are supposed to equal 5. Okay. How about 10 minus 5? Now, just because you're learning all these fancy doodad tricks and stuff, right? Subtracting is adding the opposite. It doesn't mean that you have to throw all common sense out the window. 10 minus 5 is still, it's just 5. And that's a big yes. Yes, it equals 5. Okay. But the next one, -7 plus 12. We're adding a negative and a positive, so we can't just add them. We have to subtract their absolute values. 12 minus 7 is 5. But is it positive or negative? Well, what do we have more of? We have more positives, so our answer is positive. And so that's a big old yes. And how about this last one? 8 plus -3. Again, we're adding a positive and a negative. Since the signs are not the same, one is positive, one is negative, we have to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5. Do we have more positives? Yes, we have more positives than negatives. So our answer is positive, and that means that this one, there it goes again. This one is a big yes. So this one, this one, this one, and this one all equal 5, represented in all different ways. All right, well, I hope this video helped you. Please make sure that you pay really close attention when it's subtraction, because subtraction is adding the opposite. Always remember that, especially when it comes to positive and negative numbers. If you never forget this, you're going to be much better off, I promise. Subtraction is adding the opposite. Keep the first number the same, change subtraction to addition, and change the sign of the second number, and then follow the rules for adding. Okay. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to be awesome.